What is the scariest thing you saw at night? Redditor 1. Couple nights ago there was a big flash of light and huge boom. Went to look out the windows and saw everyone on the street looking out theirs. Turns out a house halfway across town blew up from a natural gas leak. The entire town heard it. Somehow, no one died. Redditor 2. Camping up in the mountains with my GF at the time, cold night out, I think October or November. She had to pee and wanted me to go with her. When she was done and we were about to go back in the tent, we saw some kind of faint white light apparition in the shape of a person, just standing in the woods. We both thought it was a ghost and were pretty freaked out, so we went back in the tent and binged. Redditor 3. While taking an ER patient by wheelchair up to the hospital ward in the elevator at 2 a.m., successfully dropped the patient off on the 3rd floor, then headed back to the elevator. I pushed the elevator button to head back down to ground floor. Elevator proceeds to take me up to the 5th floor, the very, very haunted 5th floor that is now a clinic and not open at night. Elevator doors open to reveal a completely deserted and darkened space. I felt something get on the elevator next to me. My entire body froze, with the exception of my hands that were clutching and shaking on the wheelchair handles. The elevator takes us to the 4th floor. The doors open and once again there is no one visibly waiting for the elevator and I feel something whoosh past me. The doors close. The elevator finally takes me down to the ground floor. I walk with a purpose back to the ER and sit down to try and make sense of what I just saw, felt, experienced. Redditor 4. I didn't see it, but I smelt it. At like midnight one night, I got the sudden urge to wake and my dog bolted into my room. Over a span of 15 minutes my room filled with the scent of rose perfume. Now nobody in my household wears perfume, or could have gotten it near enough to my room. The only person that has in my family was my grandmother and she has been dead for the last 15 or so odd years. As quickly as the smell came it left immediately and my dog left too. It was weird. Redditor 5. Was doing night shift security, assigned to a new place an hour outside for town. Basically just chill in the office and patrol the building plus outside, monitor fire panel etc. During an exterior patrol I hear an extremely loud screeching metal sound and see lights flashing through the trees across the parking lot. I thought his was a goddammit portal to heck for a second before I realized JT was just a really shitty train. Redditor 6. I was turning off the lights around the house before going to bed. I exited the bathroom and went down the hall to turn the hall light off, and my hall leads directly in front of the kitchen which was dark. I looked at it before reaching for the switch before seeing a literal head peeking around the corner of my counter staring at me. Like, a literal disembodied head with eyes and everything. Really detailed. I literally saw it for 3+ seconds before immediately reaching around the corner and slamming the light to that area on, and it was gone. It had gray malnourished looking skin that looked really rough and just worn out, and this really gaunt face with black eye sockets and this sad expression. Problem is recently I was told that I might be on the schizotypal spectrum, so lol, but hey, free friends. Redditor 7. The dog that used to walk the halls at my old job, it was an assisted living facility and the dog had been owned years before I worked there. Owner and dog passed away within weeks of each other 4 years before I started there. Little black dog that would run the halls at night and day shift was shocked when I asked about it since there was no way I could have known about it. Redditor 8. I have two roommate who sliced both her arms open with a razor blade next to my bed, and finding a man waiting in the closet of my hotel room at night. Both were scary, but on a different level. I still think about it a lot, especially the roommate. Redditor 9. When I was younger, my sister's boyfriend asked me to walk to the store with him cause he didn't want to walk alone to it at night and my sister was already sleeping and he didn't want to wake her cause she's moody like that. I agreed because he said he would buy me snacks. When we were walking home, the street lights above us began to turn off as we passed them. When I looked behind us, I was met with total darkness. Looking into the dark has always unnerved me, but for some reason I felt genuine fear when I gazed into it this time. My sister's boyfriend probably felt the same way, because he picked me up and began to rush us home. The way he held me had me looking behind us, and because I felt so scared looking behind us I just closed my eyes till we got home. When we got home, we both just kinda looked at each other. I said thank you for the snacks and went off to my room. For the rest of the night I kept thinking if I saw anything in the shadows, but I didn't. I hoped whatever was in there though didn't follow us home. Redditor 10, saw a tractor trailer run a red light and it hit a person. Worst thing I ever witnessed. Redditor 11, I'm going to get a lot of your crazy comments for this, but when I was younger I had a doll that would get up and walk itself out of my room at night. I watched it move more than once, and would always come home to find her in different spots. Redditor 12, me and a mate went for a midnight bike ride up a local mountain in a small bit of bushland. On the way back we stopped for some reason and saw a creepy ass silhouette of something coming down the road towards us. No idea what it actually was, tbh, probably something boring, but the whole shape and gait of it absolutely freaked us both out and we took straight off. It was vaguely humanoid, looking like long tubular arms and slowly swaying back and forth. My best approximation would be someone leaning back and forth real heavy on a bike, with hella long jumper sleeves trailing out the sides. Except slow all the motions down to a quarter. Definitely stuck with me. Some uncanny almost human looking thing lumbering towards us in slow motion out in the pitch dark just out of bush trails. Redditor 13, bear in a tree when camping. Redditor 14, gang of knife-wielding clowns during that creepy clown crazy. Redditor 15, heading home with a few friends around 11 p.m. Walking in an unfamiliar part of town when we heard gunshots from the alley next to us and a lot of yelling. My one friend told us to keep our heads down and book it. I will never forget the fear I felt as we were sure someone was going to turn the corner and kill us. Redditor 16, I don't know if you'd believe it, but I was chased by what I can only assume was Bigfoot one night around midnight when I was a teen. Redditor 17, this one time I saw a man who claimed to be my uncle do this thing with a garden hose that haunts me to this very day. Redditor 18, at least 5 people slowly moving towards me in a full parking lot in Reno. Redditor 19, a woman that had been poisoned with a potion mixed by voodoo priest. She had supposedly died days prior, she had not. She was poisoned and eventually started walking almost in a hypnotic state or unconsciously since she seemed not to recognize anyone. She literally looked like a dead person but walking. This is where the term zombie came from. Redditor 20, my neighbor twirling his wang. Redditor 21, my face. That was when I realized I was ugly. Redditor 22, I was a little kid. I cow old, but my life has always just been like this, so time is sort of irrelevant to me. My mom brought us to this guy's trailer in the middle of the woods, and I guess that's just where we were living for that short period. She and dude were on meth. They had meth head friends, one was named Mud Man because he'd use mud water to shoot up. I was exposed to a lot of this type of garbage my whole life. This is a story about a drug deal gone wrong with Mud Man. Anyway, one night, I wake up to my mom snatching me out of bed and throwing me in the bathtub as everything was sort of exploding around us. At first I didn't know what was happening. I soon realized we were in a crummy trailer with bullets whizzing through the walls exploding everything they touched. Mom and dude were in a huge panic, he's shooting back through the windows into the darkness. Eventually, we brake for the truck. Somehow we made it to the truck, got the truck started, and peeled out down the road. They gave chase, bullets pinging the truck. It was terrifying. We made it to some civilization and dude says we're going to his parents. The chase broke off, we made it to our destination. Somehow, someway, no one was hurt. The next day, dude goes to the truck to examine the damage, drops his own pistol, and shoots himself in the forearm. He went to the ER. His arm is fucked for life. We went to examine the trailer the day after and it looks like Swiss cheese. I have no idea how we made it. I have several stories like this. I am severely traumatized from my childhood. Mom has since died of overdose. I have no idea how dude is doing. Redditor 23, camping in a wilderness cabin, fly in with nearest roads or other people 150 kilometers plus away, no cell service. Taking a leak outside in the middle of the night, looking up at crazy bright stars, and hear a sound to my left, look over and there's a 7-foot tall darker than the night bear-like shape. I slowly back up the trail, back to the cabin and ease open the very rustic no locks needed cabin door, go inside, and try to sleep. Next morning I go take a look and see if there are any tracks, only to come across a 7 feet tall, smoke darkened 4 feet wide smoker shack. Redditor 24, Drunk dudes looking for fight. Redditor 25, going backwards in my memories as best as I can, it was honestly just recently. I watched the Mandela catalog in full a month or so ago and it spooked me. Redditor 26, King Cobra in the jungle in northern Laos. The guide was like, oh look. A king cobra. It'll duck up anything. Lucky it's slithering away from us. You guys are really lucky to see one. I only see one every 5 or so years. We slept in the jungle that night. Redditor 27, my brother and I both saw the same figure and it freaked both of us out a lot at the time. When my little brother was a toddler he'd babble about all sorts of things, most of them my dad and I didn't really take too seriously. One time however he started talking about the broken grandpa he saw every night. At first we thought he was talking about having dreams about his grandpa getting hurt or something, but after some investigation that was ruled out. I spent a long time trying to figure out who or what the broken grandpa was, but to no avail. Eventually it fell out of conversation as my brother moved on to more complex thoughts. Many years later I was going to the bathroom late at night and saw a figure standing in the doorway, an older man maybe 60 or so from his shadow. I, being like 12, ran screaming to my parents and had to have my dad investigate the situation before I could even be near the bathroom, and even then it freaked me out for a long time. Broken grandpa is mostly attached to the bedroom that used to be my brother's and then my grandma's. She sadly passed away a while ago. When I slept in there for a period of a couple months I'd have terrible nightmares and had to crash in other people's rooms to get a decent night's sleep. In any case, broken grandpa is scary as shit and I never want to see him again. Redditor 28, last year we went hiking in the mountains above my house. We were hammock camping by a river and decided to walk where we could get a good view of the comet. When we started to come back I shone my flashlight over the valley behind us and saw 2 eyes looking back at me. Too dark to be a deer. We would walk a ways and shine our light back and it would be walking towards us stalking. Needless to say I did not sleep much that night. Redditor 29, my apartment definitely has something off about it, but it's never felt like a negative energy, so it's never bothered me too much. A few months ago I was asleep on the couch and my boyfriend was asleep in bed. When my boyfriend notices I'm asleep on the couch he always rubs my arm gently to wake me up to come to bed. I startle awake if he does anything else. That night I felt him rubbing my arm, but I didn't feel like getting up, so I kinda shook him off of me to let him know I was awake but too tired to move. I was awake for about 10 minutes after this. I know I was awake. The next morning I wake up and apologize for not getting up when he woke me. He told me he never woke up and rubbed my arm. Redditor 30, I've occasionally had waking nightmares, so probably a monster from one of those. Redditor 31, someone dead in the road being covered by a blanket to keep them from being rained on. Redditor 32, in my first campout for Boy Scouts, I ended up sleeping in my tent by myself since I was the new kid with no friends. Just after dusk, I'm walking to my tent and shine my light into the tree line. That's when I saw about 2 or 3 pairs of reflective coyote eyes staring back at me before running away. Not sure if they were sizing me up for dinner or just curious. I was happy Dad gave me his Bowie knife to sleep with that night. It wouldn't have done anything, but it brought me comfort. Redditor 33, my friends and I were dosed, puffing a bowl between 2 lakes under a bridge we went to. Between the 2 lakes is a channel. We saw a coven do a ritual in full attire and sacrifice a pig. We were trying to figure out if we were sharing a hallucination. We found the dead piglet in the lake the next day because it left us shook, and we had to investigate. Redditor 34, taking photos at this dock by the lake for my photography class, heard a very loud screech. Dead winter and fog on the lake. I finished my photos and hurried my ass home. Redditor 35, fuck. I'll be awake all night. Redditor 36, the penis monkey. Redditor 37, I had this terrifying sleep paralysis when I was a kid. It happened like 10 times when I was 8 or 9. I would see a man wearing dirty, torn rags from head to toe pour a bucket of spiders and centipedes out onto my floor. He would stay and watch them as they dispersed throughout my room, then grin and walk out, before I woke up screaming in a puddle of sweat. Redditor 38, not saw but heard, woke up at 4 a.m. to the sound of missiles flying overhead. This was last Eid in Syria. Redditor 39, I know I'm late to the party but it was a full moon. I was driving for work early in the morning, maybe 5 a.m., just at the very crack of sunset, and I saw a giant wolf dead on the side of the road. I know it was giant because a police officer was trying to pull it off the side of the road and I could see the size comparison. Redditor 40, an owl, a huge bird, suddenly flew up in front of my car as I slowed to cross a single-lane bridge. Its wingspan was wider than my car, and he completely blocked the windshield. Had to swallow my heart. Redditor 41, beginning of World War III and Putin threatening the world with nukes. Redditor 42, my dog. Redditor 43, a spider crawling up my leg. Redditor 44, it was really there, I just didn't see it. Redditor 45, looked in a mirror and saw my face. 010, would not recommend. Redditor 46, not quite scary but odd. Every night at my old house when Myuu and my brother would walk to the bathroom at night, we would see drops of water falling from our parents' door frame and we walked past it in the hallway. But upon turning on the lights there was nothing. And our parents never saw it was only me and my brother. Redditor 47, I decided to pamper myself and put on a face mask. I got in bed and started watching a movie. The screen went dark for a second and I saw my reflection. True definition of disappointment and horror. Redditor 48, me and some buddies driving through the countryside one night during a wicked summer storm. I'm in the back seat looking out the rear window. There's one of those 2 or 3 second long flashes of lightning and a ways behind us I see for an instant the silhouette of a funnel cloud. The scariest part was not knowing what direction it was heading. Despite that, I had a total Jeff Goldblum moment, must drive faster. Much faster. Redditor 49, when I was a kid, maybe 7-8 years old, I was trying to fall asleep one night. I felt something grab my feet and let go, wasn't like a grab and pull, just kind of a squeeze. I looked down at my feet and I saw the top half of a head as if something was looking at me from the foot of my bed, then it was gone. Redditor 50, I have psychosis and hallucinate a lot. One night, I hallucinated that there was a half a fucking child's carcass. I screamed my shit off. Redditor 51, a clown. No, seriously, why was he staring into my window from my backyard? Redditor 52, I was having a nightmare about a big black silhouette standing at the foot of my bed and I tried to wake up myself by saying a prayer, then tried to shout. This time my roommate tried to wake me up and I can see her waking me up but I can't move. I'm half awake, I can't move, I can see my whole room with lights on, but when I looked at the foot of my bed the silhouette is still there. Then my friend slapped me. I woke up but I feel this heavy dreariness in my room even the lights are already on. Redditor 53, truly harmful people. I've been startled by plenty of wildlife and have seen more than my share of eyes in the dark. I'm cautious around animals, but usually they want nothing to do with you. I scared off a bear, I chased a pack of coyotes, I shoo away skunks, I catch and release large spiders. Whatever. But when you look someone in the eyes and you don't see the kind of humanity that puts the stops on maiming or killing another person, that's something else. There's a certain kind of dead-eyed vacancy to them where you can tell the person doesn't have to psych themselves up to violence because hurting and killing people comes naturally to them. Redditor 54, when I was 12 I was on a camping trip. I was sleeping in a tent by myself and I heard this thing in the woods. I thought it was an animal but I then heard it say to me, "You," up in the most deep voice I've ever heard. Redditor 55, bobcat next to my chicken coop. Redditor 56, men in black. Redditor 57, walking by strangers holding weapons and praying for just a calm and a harm-free walk on by lol. Redditor 58, a burn victim begging for money in China. I was 3 years old and that was the most horrifying thing I've ever seen. I feel so bad for that person. If it was me I'd honestly rather be dead. His or her skin was like tree bark but also hanging everywhere. Redditor 59, there was a storm with high winds, so much rain. The wind was so strong that the largest trees were leaning to the side. The rain was almost horizontal. And the lightning. Red, purple, yellow, blue. I'm not lying. It was like a scene out of The Flash season 4. The windows were rattling, and that's dangerous, because most of the walls are glass. Redditor 60, shadow person. Redditor 61, election returns. Redditor 62, not scary but I once saw 2 foxes doing it in my garden in the middle of the night. Redditor 63, it was a dark misty fall night. Me and my best friend smoked way too much. Despite heavy couch lock, we decided rations were imperative and then started to walk to the store. This is a dimly lit residential street. About a block from the house we see a jet black mini horse standing in the fucking middle of the street. Waves of existential horror wash over us with every step closer. In my mind, this is surely an equine demon of some sort come to smash our THC-addled brains all over the cold pavement. It regards us with mild interest as we slowly creep past it. No explanation on why it was there. No one was looking for it. We were in no mental state to deal with that situation. Redditor 64, a lion. Redditor 65, a picture of Marjorie Taylor Greene, fucking hell. Redditor 66, I was seeing a lot of videos about lucid dreaming and I figured I'll test it out. So one night I did exactly as one video explained in steps, and I was warned that I might end up in sleep paralysis. Surely enough, I ended up for a good 5 minutes in sleep paralysis, seeing this dark black giant over my head with huge red eyes staring down at me with big teeth slowly coming at me, and I couldn't do shit. Never tried it ever again. Redditor 67, saw a guy get stabbed in South Dallas. I was 17 and driving home from a concert. My cell phone was dead, so I couldn't call the cops. It was awful. Redditor 68, I stay up working on homework at the computer lab. The lab closes after midnight, I think 2 or something, so I leave to take the school bus, only to find I missed it. Where I was living was away but not far away, so I start walking. Usually there's some people on the street either leaving bars, clubs, or any late open restaurants. This time it was almost empty. I start walking and notice someone following me. I turn a corner, they do too, so I walk faster. They continue to follow me through the streets. I'm glad there was a Subway getting ready for the day, so I go in there and explain what happened. When I leave, I look around for him but don't see him. The Subway was located in the middle of the street. The guy had walked past the crossroads, so the only place he could have gone was back where he came from. Redditor 69, the scariest thing I saw at night was a door swinging open that I just closed. There's a completely logical explanation. The door had a piece of foam in the corner to either keep it from being closed or from slamming. Didn't keep me from freaking out though. Redditor 70, when I was like 9 or 10 years old, I had a Halloween party with my cousin, my little brother, and my cousin's 2 friends. After a while being inside the house, we decided to go trick or treating, so we thought, why not go to the house of the dad from one of my cousin's friends, and we went there. But suddenly 2 masked people, 2 young boys I think around 16 or 17 years old, jumped out of a corner. They wore killer clown masks and even had knives with them and started running towards us. We all started screaming and started running away, over a street. Luckily there was no car incoming, but they just chased us. When we all told our parents, it turned out those 2 were brothers of my cousin's friend and it was a prank. But this could have gone terribly wrong, especially for my little brother, cause he was the last one running over the street since he was only 4 or 5 at this moment, so he couldn't run so fast. Very sorry for any writing mistakes in here, English isn't my first language. Redditor 71, children. Redditor 72, Blair Witch Project. Redditor 73, I went outside, it was day to go piss, and I look into the woods behind my house. I swear I see a tall thing with a white mask on, and I ran and I heard stomping behind me. Told my sister and she didn't believe me. Redditor 74, my dick. Redditor 75, one time, my 3 friends, my boyfriend, and I went to a park at night. We walked through the field into a forest on a small hill with one of those open pipes. We were there just being dumb teenagers, but my friend Quinn looked down the pipe and there was a person curdled up farther into the pipe, and the Kiki dropped her brand new phone into the sewer water. It was terrifying. Redditor 76, a deer in my neighbor's backyard. Redditor 77, a triangle demon with a top hat and a bow tie floated towards me. I blinked and he was gone. Redditor 78, nothing. Redditor 79, I saw your mom's face when scrolling through the internet. My phone cracked, get her to apologize. JK, this is a troll to make you laugh. PLS, don't cry, I'm just trying to be funny. Redditor 80, my wife naked. There were rules as far as the eye could see.